She imagines Bluff House. It's as if it's right in front of her, silhouetted against the pale sky, huge and looming with a solitary light shining in an upstairs room. She can never go back. Love? She shakes her head. She knows where she wants to end up, but not how to get there, and she has to choose somewhere before he drives off. Anywhere, she says, before opening the door and climbing in. Anywhere, just away.
1.
Evening Standard website, 14th of March 2011. News in brief. Mystery girl found on Deal Beach. Oliver Johnson. No comments. Authorities are baffled by a mystery girl who was taken to the hospital last week after being found unconscious on the beach in Deal, Kent, by a passerby. The teenager, who carried no identification but is believed to be around 15 to 18 years of age, was soaking wet and was admitted to Queen Elizabeth the Queen Mother Hospital in Margate, where she was found to be suffering from hypothermia. On regaining consciousness, she was unable to tell doctors her name, where she lives, or where she was born, and claims to have no knowledge of how she came to be in the seaside town. She was described as extremely anxious, terrified of any new face, and reluctant to talk. Doctors have found no sign of injury, and the police report notes that there is nothing to suggest foul play. She remains in the hospital while doctors decide whether she requires any further treatment. The police are thought to be considering a public appeal for information if her condition does not improve. She is described as 5 feet 7 inches tall and overweight, with shoulder-length brown hair. She was wearing a black jacket, a white vest, and blue jeans when found.
Now. 2. I mustn't fall asleep. I know that. It's obvious. You hear the stories. People get trapped and eventually stop trying to escape. They succumb to exhaustion and close their eyes. The body shuts down. They die. But what do I do to stay awake? That's the question that spins in my head and won't go away. I'd just crested the hill when it happened. The dead thing lay in the road, bleached of colour and completely still, and even as I registered its presence, I knew I had no chance of avoiding it. It was too late to do anything but slam my foot on the brake and hope for the best. The car began to skid. I saw myself as an observer might, someone filming the incident for posterity. I wondered if I'd get out of this alive. I imagined the vehicle turning slowly in a balletic curve before ploughing into a low stone wall with a sickening crunch. I saw the bonnet concertina, then a moment of perfect stillness and utter quiet before a fireball lights the scene from within. I start to burn. My red flesh is eaten up by the inferno before a cool, sweet blackness washes over me. I know that when they find my body, it'll be twisted, unrecognizable. They'll have to work out who I am from some clue, dental records perhaps, the chassis number of the car. But even then they'll wonder who to tell. There's no one, not really. A flatmate I barely know, an ex-boyfriend who I doubt would really care. And Dan, I suppose, though his interest will be purely professional. If the papers pick up the story, he'll tell them it's such a shame, a real tragedy. A promising career, wonderful to work with, her next film was shaping up to be really something, taken from us too young, blah, blah, blah. Something like that, anyway. They'll write it down and stick it on page 7, as long as nothing more interesting comes along. No better than I deserve. But it didn't happen like that, of course. The car turned through a quarter circle and lurched violently into a shallow ditch bordering the road. The seatbelt bit into my shoulder, and the dashboard jerked toward me. Then my teeth crunched painfully together as my head struck the steering wheel. Everything outside went black, and for a second or two I had a curious, high-pitched tinnitus. When I opened my eyes, I saw double. Shit, I thought. The last thing I need is a concussion. But a moment later, everything cleared and I pulled myself together. The lights were dead, and though the engine started after a while, it was with an odd grinding noise, accompanied by the caustic stench of burning rubber. The wheels spun.